Do you ever feel stuck in the rat race? Life doesn't have to be that way if you're willing to put in the work. In Bigger Vision, Chris Garrison helps you discover the keys to abundance, freedom, and personal growth that let you live the life of your dreams. And now, here's your host, Chris Garrison.
Welcome, everybody. You've made it to the Bigger Vision podcast. This is where we stretch ourselves to think bigger, because it is all about how big are you thinking on whether or not you are going to go as far as you should. We all have the capabilities of going as far as we want to. The problem is we don't keep enough influences around us of big thinking so that we believe we can do it. That's what happens when you get around people that are doing big things, is you can borrow their belief and it'll allow you to go after your dreams and your visions of doing and accomplishing your personal dreams. I just had lunch with someone that reached out to me, has been following me on my social media, and I try to post on my social media to let people see that anybody can do it. There's nothing special about me, and I've been able to start a business from scratch, from just hustling, working hard, having a desire to never go back to the person that I was before, and then also getting around the right influences in education. So I spent a ton of time on my off time when I actually wasn't working, just immersing myself into my industry's content, learning the skill sets, what I could do to make things better, what I could do to grow with. And then I did the same thing for real estate and all of the other investments. And what I've learned is if you really want to expedite time, you need people to know who you are and what you do. That's what it boils down to. And so this individual has seen me post on social media, so reached out to me, said, "Hey, can we grab lunch? I'd really like to talk." And so I said, absolutely. I said, let's go grab lunch, my treat, and let's see what you got going on. One of the things that he had mentioned was, he said, "I'm looking at investing in real estate. I'd really like to do that." He's got a W-2 job right now. He said his wife's got a W-2 job and is considered starting her own business in baked goods because she loves doing that. And so I said, well, here's my recommendation. You and your wife need to sit down and clarify where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, and in 1 year. Once you get clear on your individual desires and goals, like think about, what is your perfect day? What does that consist of? Is that sleeping in till 10 o'clock, getting up, drinking coffee and hanging out and reading a book? And then what is it? Is it hanging out on the beach? And also really think about, is this the perfect day for you? Because I've heard of some very wealthy individuals that were at that place where they could retire at a young age, and they actually took a month off and went and hung out on the beach, and they were like, I was miserable. Like, it was great for 7-10 days, but I started getting stir crazy. And the reason that is because they were used to producing. They were used to producing something and putting out into the marketplace something that would bring value. They were used to creating value. And when you get used to producing, it is very difficult to just be a consumer. So I said, why don't you and your wife sit down individually, clarify what you want your future to look like, really think and make sure that this is something that you want to be able to do, what your perfect day would be, and then come back together and make sure that you can intertwine those. I said, because if her lifestyle is staying at the house and doing more of a real laid back lifestyle, but yours is you're stir crazy at the house and you need to be out active, making something happen in the day, then y'all got to figure out how to make that work together. So if she's sleeping in till 10 o'clock, then maybe you need to be producing up until 10 o'clock so that you can apply time with her to build your relationship. There's so many different ways to go about it, but without having clarity on what you and her want, then you're not going to be very successful at hitting the goal. And so then I said, after you've got this clarity, now you know where you're trying to get to, so you work yourself backwards. I said, so she wants to do this baking company. I said, my first thought is, what is the profit margins per baked good? So let's just take a cake, for example. How much time does it take to bake that cake? What is she currently making at her job now? So if she's making $20 an hour and it takes her an hour to bake this cake, then that means there's $20 of labor, of expense put into this cake. Then what about all the ingredients? and everything else that is involved. Now you know what the expenses are to make this cake. Now, what are you going to be able to sell it for? Once you know what you can sell it for, you can subtract the expenses from the sale price, and you know what your profit is. You're going to have some taxes on top of that, little miscellaneous things like that. But for the most part, you're looking at your profit margin. Now, she's wanting to leave that job and go full-time on this business. How many cakes are you going to have to sell to replace her income? That's the question. You might realize that you're going to be working an 80-hour week just to replace your 40-hour a week income. Do you love it that much? Are you trying to create a job when you got clear on where you wanted to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Was it in the kitchen doing baked goods and selling them? Or is it more of a relaxed lifestyle where you have more time? So my goal in life is I want to buy my time back. Every effort that I'm making, I'm trying to be very strategic to buy my time back. Matter of fact, I made a mistake the other day and put a business under contract that wasn't going to allow me to buy my time back in a big way. It was going to be able to autopilot itself and bring me some extra cash flow. But was it really moving the needle? And could I have applied more effort and money towards something bigger and better? And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And that's why the topic of this show is find the right vehicle. Because if let's say that my path is up a mountain and I know that a Ferrari is going to outrun a Pinto, but I can't take that Ferrari up a mountain. I'm going to need a mountain bike. I can't take a street bike up a mountain. So if I'm on the street, I can ride a street bike. If I'm running off of all terrain, then I'm going to need a dirt bike. If I'm racing down the highway, I'm going to choose the Ferrari over the Pinto. The Ferrari and the Pinto will both more than likely get to the same destination, but one's going to get there quicker than the other. So you need to know your numbers behind the decisions that you're making. Because if you're making decisions based off of assumptions and emotions, you're more likely to make the wrong decision. But if you can break it down into data and use numbers, the numbers don't lie. They will tell you the true story. So that's why I told this guy while we were sitting there having lunch, and he was extremely wise to reach out to someone else and get an opinion because he sees that I've had some success. I'm still very little in my success, in my opinion, but he sees that I'm very motivated and aggressive in trying to build more success, that I'm surrounding myself around high net worth individuals that are active. They're not just these gurus that are trying to sell you a course, but they're actually doing what they do sell if they are selling a course. And he wanted to get in that influence to get my opinion. So I applaud him for that. Very, very wise decision. That's exactly what I do in life. And it's helped me get further in life. But that's why I told him, clarify where you're trying to go and then work the numbers, because this bakery might be a trap. This bakery might be a job that you're paying to get involved in. Because if it diminishes your quality of life of where you want to go, then it was the wrong move. It might look really nice on the outside, but if it's taking your time, then it's not what you really want. Your goal should be to buy back your time. So that's where my focus is I'm trying to decide, okay, if I do this, does it give me more time? So I just hired a personal assistant. This personal assistant is giving me more time by doing tasks that I technically don't enjoy doing. They bog me down in the day. So writing documents, going through my emails, looking up, for instance, this business, we needed some software that was going to help us automate it. And I said, hey, here's the characteristics. Here's what I want it to be able to do and achieve. Now go look that up and find me some programs that do that. Let's call these programs, get more information from a person over the phone about them after we've read their information online. Let's get some pricing and let's decide what program is going to be the best program to go with. That would take a lot of my day to where I could actually be applying that time towards something else that's generating new revenue. So I was able to provide an opportunity by hiring for a personal assistant position for this individual that enjoys doing that. Not only that, now he's going to get to be around and see how I move because I mimic people that are even bigger and greater and doing more productive things than what I'm doing. He will get around and get to reap the benefits of all of the education that I pay for and have been paying for to get in these rooms, to listen to these coaches, and to put in action what they have done over many years of success. and it's expediting the time. I'm robbing time. I'm able to cheat time by getting people that's walked the path before me to coach me on how to walk the path because they already know the trail. It helps me get over hurdles quicker. And now this personal assistant's getting to watch me get over these hurdles. And what do you think is going to happen? It's going to rub off on them. Their mindset's going to start changing. His actions are going to start changing. The way he thinks, the way he responds and speaks, it's just a part of it. That's why you got to be so careful about who you hang out with, who you allow into your circle, and the influences that you listen to, because it will rub off on you. No person is strong enough to influence everyone around them. So even when I'm around influences that might not be great, I have to wash those out to make sure that I end my day with positive influences. Because you can't control the environment all the time, but you definitely want to try to control it the majority of the time with positive influences. So my question to you is, what vehicle are you driving? And is that vehicle the correct vehicle to get you to the destination you're trying to get to? Because if you're trying to climb a mountain, you can't take the street bike mountain terrain. If you're trying to win a speed race, you can't win it with a Pinto, a 4-cylinder. You're going to have a V8 all hyped up. It's going to have to be something that has been made for racing, for going fast. And it's okay if you want the Pinto. It's not my jive. It's not my preference. But if that is yours, if that's what fits your lifestyle and gets you to the destination that you want, just make sure that you're in the right vehicle. And the only way to know if you're in the right vehicle is to have clarity on where you're going, and then to look at the data of what you are applying your time to, and is that generating, and is it going to actually mathematically make sense of putting you where you're trying to get to. I can't stress that enough. And if you don't know the data, then find the data out. There is resources. I mean, we've got the internet. You can sit there and look it up. When I didn't know what to charge for carpet cleaning when I first started my cleaning service company, I went online and started looking and Googling carpet cleaning pricing. I even researched what my competitors were doing in my market. I got on forums to find out what they were charging, and it was all over the place, but it gave me some point of reference so that I could decide where I needed to start. Then as I started, and it gave me also expectations of what the expenses were. So then as I began to move in service work, I was able to see what my actual expenses were. And then I started structuring my pricing, what I was charging based off of what my expenses were. Because then I could see my expenses, build a profit in, and now I've got the magical number of what to charge. And this is how you have to move in life, because otherwise you're making blind decisions that almost always will not put you where you're trying to go. So get yourself around the right influences, get clarity of where you want. Take this weekend, if you've never sat down, and write, what is my perfect day? What do I want my time spent on through the week and on the weekends? How do I want that applied? What do I want my finances to look like? How much family time do I want involved? What kind of house do I want to live in? What kind of car do I want to drive? What kind of vacations do I want to take? Get down very detailed. The more detailed you get, the better. Now you can sit there and say, okay, I'm wanting to take 2 vacations. I want one vacation to be in the U.S., one vacation to be out of the U.S. Look and see what it costs if you've never taken a vacation out of the U.S. Find something that you think that you would like and research it on the internet and get a price ticket. If it costs $7,000, plane flight there, staying at the resort, your time spent there, and whatever you plan on doing there, and then the flight back, all of those little things. Let's say it's $7,000. Okay, now you know I need $7,000 for this out of the U.S. vacation each year. And then you're going to say, what is it going to cost me to take a vacation inside the U.S.? Maybe that's $4,000. Okay, now I've got $11,000 that I've got to have sitting available for me to take my 2 vacations to live my perfect life. So now what's it going to take me to live? What is it going to take me to pay the mortgage on this house, to pay the car note on this car? Add them up. Get you a spreadsheet, get you a notepad, whatever you desire to do. Find those real numbers. And then now you're putting your game plan together and you can be strategic. I heard a really, really, really amazing, I'd not heard this before. One of my mentors said, it's 80,000 hours that it takes to be a master at something. That's 5 years at 40 hours a week. 5 years. And he said, but the problem is we don't stay focused enough in our pursuit for where we want to go. So after year 2, maybe even as long as 3, we decide to bail because we get the shiny object syndrome and we start chasing something else. And the problem with that is you just did all the work, but you missed the harvest. So if I remember it correctly, he said, year 1 is your planting year. And I'm on year 5 in my business. So I was able to relate to this scenario and completely agreed with it. So year 1 is your planting. Year 2 is your cultivating. Year 3 is where you start to be able to take harvest. Year 4 and 5 is when you get to consume it. And year 4 and 5, most of the time we never see because we get distracted. Decide, maybe this isn't it. I'm losing interest. It's a lot of effort. It's because we didn't keep the consistency for the long term so that we could actually see the fruits from our labor. So I want to press you to stay focused once you get clarity of where you want to go and you work the numbers to find what it's going to take, the effort it's going to take to get you where you're going. And if you were married, make sure your spouse is on board because it's going to take both of you. Otherwise, that is conflict that's going to stress you out and break your focus because there's going to be sacrifice in year 1, 2, and 3. There's that time of planting, there's time of cultivating, and then the harvest. And you are sweating it out during those 3 times. But year 4 and 5, that's when you're going to be able to consume the harvest. That's when you're going to really appreciate all the hard work that you put in. And I want you guys and gals to be able to appreciate and reap the harvest that you have worked so hard to be able to consume. Until next time, I want you guys to live in success. If you enjoyed this and you find value from this podcast, please hop on there, give me a 5-star review, write in the comments what you liked about the episode, what you would like to hear more about. This helps move me up the algorithm. It helps push me into a new audience so that other people can get fed this. Also, hop on Facebook. Check out the 2 Facebook groups that I'm running. I've got Bigger Vision Facebook group. That just talks about wealth creation from your mindset to business to investing. Then I'm also joined up with a partner, Kevin Marin, on Blue Collar Millionaire. And we talk everything about running a business, starting a business, operating, scaling, purchasing, selling. If it's business related, we are talking about it, and we've got some spectacular guests that are coming on there, dropping just golden nuggets every week, Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central. So plug into Facebook groups. Let's connect. Let's help each other grow. Let's share our ideas. Let's build our community. And until next time, let's grow.
This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.